So here we go. Every morning would start out, almost every morning, we would go over to the Jugaria Keti, as you see, deliciosamente natural. Sure. You got some keke down here, and these are called licuados. So that is a little bit of a shake, right? We're doing it's like they put fruit in there and some other stuff, and some things are supposed to help you. And then they even put malt beer in there, a dark malt beer. So yeah, there's actually some beer in these morning shakes. So cakes, beers, you kind of see the menu here. They have these like little chicken sandwiches. The bread and stuff is really good out there. So here we are, working towards the center of Lima. These are all a lot of these. There's a lot of government buildings and other things as you get further in here. Some of the architecture here is not as much of what you see in the rest of the surrounding parts of Lima. These are a little more older, historic. Some of them have the Spanish influence and stuff. Some are from around the time when the Spaniards were conquering. What's up, Kingston? You didn't even give me a heads up. You just kind of jumped right in. You want to get in on this, or what's up? Go. School supplies. Who you going to get school supplies with? Oh, yeah. What's up? There you go, buddy.
The streamer?
Yes.
What do you have that?
Because I'm doing a little slideshow. He's traveler sickness. All right. Before you get the whole room sick, enjoy getting school supplies, buddy. See ya. All right. So you missed the whole intro. And I do wear my sunglasses at night. I had to come in looking too cool for school. So yeah, we got a little basically we have like mixed seafood and rice. Sometimes they call it chaufa. It's basically like fried rice. And then this ain't the best looking ceviche you might ever see, but it was definitely delicious. And you know, it was kind of like a bar. We got to eat right up front. Yeah, so more government centers here. You see the big flag, and there's, you know, they do whatever. I think the president or the governor of the Lima, they're kind of all in this area right here. I forget. I think this was like for traffic or something, which is ironic because the traffic in Lima is pretty crazy. This is a footbridge over the river. I think it's Rimac is the river, but crazy suspension footbridge, and I think if it keeps going here, it goes across the highway. There's like the highway over here, and then there's this little narrow walkway down, and we actually were like walking on the highway, and we got down on the buses there. It was crazy. This is called La Parada. There's Kingston. Just back here, like right behind Kingston, there was cages full of chickens and gui, which are guinea pigs, and basically you could buy like one of these animals out of the cages and bring it home to eat. So if you like eating what many consider pets, yeah, they were just back here. So there's like shops on this side and shops over here, and then there were shops that you could access as you're coming down the walkway. Really crazy, interesting. It's a whole cultural experience, you know. So you can see again. There's probably some animals in cages here and over here, and this guy's selling a bed frame apparently. And yeah, so this was just one walkway down thousands of shops. Here we are. We just walked off the back of the plane. We came off the back of the plane, and this is in Juliaca. This is at Puno. After we went from Juliaca, we drove a bus over to Puno. So this is Lago Titicaca in the background. So we went to Lake Titicaca, and this is kind of looking over Puno. They said there's like over 1 million plus people in this city, if you can believe it. But that does partly include just out here on the edge here is where you have your Uros, and those are like floating boats, floating houses. There's a whole community on floating, basically these little islands they make with the mud that floats on the water, and then there's the reeds that grow in it, and the whole thing is just floating all the time. So it's like a whole city basically on like pontoons. So you see Lago Titicaca, Destino Turistico Puno. There we are. This was getting down on the bridge. Our boat was right here that we did, our little tour boat. And now you see this is a floating island, so you can actually swim underneath this if you'd wanted to. The water, I think it averages in the low 50s. It's kind of like being at one of the Great Lakes. My Canadian friend might understand what I'm talking about. These giant lakes that are freezing cold. So these are the huts that they live in. It's just a little one-room hut. we actually got to visit inside there. There's a little bed inside there, and that's kind of basically where they live. They actually have, if you can see here, there's a solar panel. They have a couple solar panels, and they store enough power that they're able to convert over time that they can watch TV. They said they could watch TV all day if they wanted. So the rustic living is meeting its modern equivalent even out here on the floating islands. And the whole reason for the floating islands was because of pressures from other tribes and stuff, warring tribes and that back way back when. I think we're talking like BC era. So they found this way of living on this lake in these floating islands, and the guy goes out and he fishes and does all his things. Holy cow! Oh, I gotta see what's going on here. 1 second. Lexi is. Oh, got it. So that was we pulled up to this floating island with our boat, and yeah, it was pretty big. And there's 4 families that live over here, I think, which is pretty interesting. Then here we go. We got this is a kind of like 2 of their traditional boats strung together. I guess back in the day they used to build big ones like this, and then they would build their houses on there. But over time they decided that they were going to go over here. So yeah. All right. I'm gonna get y'all. Here we go. So there was that, and then this was our cabin. We actually got to stay on this one. So this is a floating island as well. This was our cabin, and we got to lay on the beds here. We even took a nap out here and just like in the breeze. It was crazy. It was like 70, high 70s. Sun is like burning you. You're getting sunburned. I might even look a little pink still. And the sun was like burning you. The water's freezing cold, and if the breeze picked up, you started getting cold. And it got to the point where like the wind and the sun and anything cold that would come at you, you'd start getting like chills. And we all, well, most of us pretty much got sick in the 2 days that we were here, just mostly from the altitude sickness. We were so high up. This is even higher than Cusco, which is where a lot of tourists go to see Machu Picchu. I think Machu Picchu maybe at its highest could be. I don't know. I'd have to look it up. Yeah. So we were hiking on one of the local islands. This was like after we stayed the night. I woke up with really bad altitude sickness. Head was pounding. I was having crazy nightmares, dude. Like my brain was tripping myself out. My brain came up with things to torment my brain. How do you do that? How do you trick yourself into tricks? I don't know. It was crazy. I guess it was the altitude sickness. Who knows? So here we are. This is the world's highest navigable body of water. As you can see, it's pretty giant, and we're hiking on an island in the middle of this giant body of water. So, yeah, there's an archway. More beautiful scenes. Kat's got a really cool picture of her doing a headstand here. So this was us leaving. We left Lake Titicaca. We came back. This is the city of Juliaca. The runway is not too far over here, or maybe it was over here. And we took off. We kind of circled the city and headed back towards Lima. But you can kind of see how everything's gridded out. They all kind of build all this stuff in grids. And then Juliaca is also constantly expanding, much like Lima. So this is back in Lima. Nice little waterfall from the river Rimac, I think. This is where we are staying. My mother-in-law is working on building this property. And you can see this one over here. The walls are finished. But over here, these haven't been finished yet because it's under construction. This one, they've never finished it. Maybe because they're waiting for this to get dealt with. You know, maybe they're not going to finish it. Maybe their front is finished. But this is kind of looking out on the street. This is looking the other way. Again, you can see how these ones have the finish. And these ones are under construction. So this is how they do. They just literally build these like, boom, steel girders, stack the bricks. And these things go up like 7 feet high or 7 stories high. It's pretty impressive. This one, you know, these ones back here are 3. Multiple families probably live in these. Here's this is like the best ceviche. So there's a ceviche stand right next to a place called Chicharrones. So one's like fried like pork loin and like the soft, like smooth parts of the pork. And then that was right next to where we get the ceviche. This ceviche was so good. And a little bit of fried calamari with it. They put a little plantano, crispy plantano, and a sweet potato. This is hominy, right? And then this is like, I think they call them chocolos. It's like the corn, but that's been dried and then fried. and it's kind of like nuts. So like anywhere you go, like you sit down at a bar, they'll drop those nuts down on you. Little corn nuts. This is in the market, right near her house, and they're just selling chickens, whole chickens, chicken feet, chicken legs, just like crazy. This one had the fish right across from it. These are bonito, so they got the sushi like basically right there. You just boom, slice it up. This is all really market fresh, good fresh caught fish, good stuff. Here's what a cemetery looks like. We went and visited our grandpa, and we went up, and then you go. There's a whole bunch of different ones, but each one of these is somebody's, basically their tomb, and so that's what their headstones look like. A little different. Local mall. This is what a local mall looks like, right? And so these are kind of they're outdoor sort of, but then like this here is like almost like a Costco. If anybody knows what a Costco is or been to one, that's this. It was very big inside. It had electronics, had food, it had pillowcases, it had all the things you could probably think you might need. So this is a more modern area, but I mean literally right behind looks kind of like the other pictures I was showing of what the homes look like when they're under construction. And this is going down to Miraflores, I think. So this is a more modern highway, a little more updated. And then we had a fancy restaurant that we stayed at. So Miraflores is where a lot of the tourists go and where a lot of the money is in Lima. And this is what their soup looked like. And this was called churrasco. It's a churrasco carne. And then this is tarin verde, which is like a green pasta. So you got grilled steak and green pasta. Back in the Lima Center near the government area, it's like a Catholic church, basically. And there's a museum right over here. This was inside the church, a little shrine, Jesus carrying his cross. And, then they had a whole bunch of these with all the other saints in them. This was in the museum, a whole bunch of different saints. And I didn't catch all the story on all this stuff. But, this is like the most famous soup in Lima. So here you got caldo pollo. Here's the yolk of an egg. There's another egg in its shell in here. Then there's like different parts of the chicken that we probably normally wouldn't eat here in Northern America. And then they had a full chicken breast. And this is kind of, they call it ceviche de pollo. Basically, instead of like a fish ceviche, this is a chicken ceviche. And so these are like kind of spiced up. There's a little bit of a spice to it. It's pretty good though. Amarillo pepper and a little bit of ricotta pepper. And they sliced the chicken, and this juice was delicious, man. It was so tasty. And this chicha morada, so the chicha morada is like a purple corn, and they boil it over in water, and they mix it with like cinnamon sticks and some other spices and seasoning to give it a distinct flavor. So it's kind of like a Kool-Aid. It looks a little like grape juice, but it tastes different than that. And yeah, this was good. And you can see in the background again, you got like the nuts for the corn. Shoot, here's me walking down the market. So this is back at La Parada, and you can see more bonito. This is that market where I said on the one side it was really narrow, and it was like, holy cow, this is narrow. But this here was where they're doing all the fish and stuff and cutting up. We were there towards the end of the day, like we had just finished eating the soup and stuff for lunch, a little bit later lunch. So a lot of these places were cleaning up. You gotta get there early. Here's this back same part, La Parada. That's the street market. You can see all the different colors. I was like, that's a great shot. All the people, all the colors, man. Just looked so good. You got huge papayas over here, and guava and mango and apples and oranges and bananas and pineapple, potatoes. Over here's tomatoes and peppers and carrots. Everything you could ask for. There it is, right? And then this is Kat's dad, who we went and visited. I said grandpa. I guess I should say dad. Kingston's grandpa. This is his brother. So this is an indoor portion of that outdoor market. And I mean, Peru is all about the hustle. Everywhere you go, people got shops, and they're all selling variations of this sort of format of things. And I think that's the last picture. I got tons of more pictures and all that stuff. But that was, it's the quickest nutshell I could give you of a lot of what we saw. We didn't get into the mountains to see more of the ruins and stuff and what the Incans had left over and all that. We did that kind of the first time we went a few years ago. and then Kat's other half of the family that was there with us, they're going to go and do that. They're actually in Cusco right now. So Lake Titicaca was kind of our big one, and a lot of pictures of other stuff, I guess, probably on Kat's phone. When we went up to one of the big ruins was when I actually forgot my phone, and we went and saw a sunset from the largest island, Amantani, which is like a real spiritual awakening moment. If you go on that island, it just clears you up. So anyway,